have a little bit of fun.
Today on the Matt and Ann Show, we welcome New York Giant legend Leonard Marshall. Welcome to the show, Leonard.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Phenomenal.
Let's
It's
get
good to
right
be
in.
alive and well.
I hear that. Let's get right into it. You're a former New York Giant. Obviously, their year wasn't great this year, but do you see any positives that came from this year? Or do you think that they just need to fully rebuild and get rid of Daniel
I
Jones?
see I see a lot of positives in terms of what uh, the New York Giants are doing fundamentally.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, they're trying to rebuild and repair their football team, and they've tried to do it from within, and it has not been successful.
Yeah.
I think that it's time to now step outside the box, bring in some new blood, some new attitude, a little bit of a different vision than what they prefaced with, and go back to what the Giants were built on when I played in the NFL and when I played and performed for the New York Football Giants, which is a team of character, a team of built upon defense and guys playing defense and not worrying about offensively how many points they could score, when they can score, how they can score, who scores the ball and who doesn't. And like I always tell people, offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And a return to the old is what I think that the new New York Giants should try to do.
So you think they should bring in Coach O from
I don't think I don't think they should bring in Coach O per se, but I think they need to bring in someone that's tactical and fundamentally sound when it comes to playing a strong defensive scheme that the Giants can play and play very well. The 3-4 defense has always worked for the New York Giants.
Yeah.
That's strong blitzing outside linebackers, that's sound fundamental run defense, that's strong play at the cornerback position, and guys that are physical at the cornerback position that are willing to challenge the run and defend the pass well at all times during the course of a game. You know, today's cornerback is a little bit bigger, faster, stronger than the cornerback that we play with. However, the guys that played in my era, the Perry Williams, the Mark Collins, the Everson Walls, the Herbie Welches, and the Terry Kennards of the world um, um, were sufficient and very sound in terms of their approach to playing the game. They played at a high intensity level and they challenged folks. I don't see that kind of play in this Giants football team.
Absolutely. Bill Belichick was one of your coaches while you were with the Giants. Did you see how his future would turn out? Did you think he would be one of the greatest coaches of all time while he was there?
Without a doubt. That was one of the reasons that was so disappointing for me in 1991 when he did not get offered the position to become the head football coach when they replaced Bill Parcells with Ray Handley. I felt that had Bill Belichick become the team head coach in 91 and 92, that one of those two teams had a chance to either repeat or challenge for an NFL championship one more time.
Absolutely. Tell us about your hit on Joe Montana, because that's one of the most famous hits ever.
Well, the play against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game was a very inspirational play for a lot of reasons. Basically, if you watch the film, I slipped. I'm crawling, and I kind of never gave up on the football play. And that's what coaches teach when you play the game. They teach you to go out, play to the whistle, no matter what happens, overcome the adversity, and make the play. Everything that I exemplified in terms of making that play and separating Mr. Montana from the football was indicative of what I was taught as a player, within the structure of our defense. So the fact that I left my feet and was able to separate him from the ball in such a manner in a pivotal time in the game where it was crucial that someone on our defense make a football play, huge. I was always a big play defensive lineman. If you look at my whole tenure with the Giants, I don't finish third in quarterback sacks in the history of the team, second all time in tackles in the history of the team, especially as a defensive lineman.
Absolutely.
And to have the career, that I did, making all decade, making the 25 greatest players of the Giants. I don't have all of that without giving effort. And the one thing you can teach in football that you can't fundamentally teach is effort. So I was an effort player. I prided myself on being an effort player and bringing that special to our huddle, and then bringing young players along on our defense with my effort and with my play.
Absolutely. I want to get into, I know you've been diagnosed with CTE. That's a huge thing
Yes.
nowadays. A lot of people didn't really know about it when you played, but it's a huge part of the sport now. Can you tell people, one, what CTE is, and two, tell them about the movie Concussion. I know you had a lot to do with that movie too.
Sure. So chronic traumatic encephalopathy is a disease that is borne upon players that have had severe brain impact during the course of play, either in a contact sport or perhaps in a non-contact sport where you can experience head trauma. So, for example, I could have been a cheerleader, and in the course of cheering, had a fall of some sort, hit my head, and had a debilitating head injury and not know it. Over time, due to the buildup of tau protein on the brain, I experienced memory loss, mood swings, resistance to light, and a number of different other symptoms associated with traumatic brain injury. Just like that, as a player in the NFL, a player in the NBA, a player in the NHL, I could have experienced head trauma from collisions that are contact related. And without knowing, these blows to the head have caused debilitated head injury, the buildup of tau protein on the brain, and experience the same type of symptoms as a result of severe brain impact, the buildup of tau protein, resistance to light, mood swings, irritability, so forth and so on. Probably the only other example that I could think of that I haven't touched upon would be, and as part of the mood swing thing is, the crying, the crying for no reason, the reach out for help without someone there on the other end. So, it's very disheartening that players have to deal with this, because when you're signed up to play the game of football, especially at the pro level and in some cases at the college level, because many guys don't make it to the next level, you never knew that you'd be playing the game and it would have such an impact upon your life.
Yeah.
Now that it's had such an impact, how do you do now? What do you do now to repair that? So, it's been one hell of a journey to learn how to deal with that. But even worse, it's been one hell of a journey to understand what you signed up for and why. So that part of it makes it tough for athletes. It has made it tough for me, and it makes it tough for a lot of guys I know, both NBA, NFL, NHL, and NFL players.
Well, I completely agree because no one ever told, like, even when I was younger, up until maybe I was in high school, college, no one ever said what happens after the concussion. It was like, oh, your brain heals up and everything's fine. They didn't say you have long-term effects from it. So
Right. So
that
yeah.
really
So
changed everything.
I sincerely agree. So that's to answer the second part of your question. That's how I come to know Dr. Amalu. So I come to know Dr. Amalu by way of my attorney in Pittsburgh, Jason Lukasevic
Okay.
of the law firm Goldberg, Persky and White. And when I met Dr. Amalu, the first thing I did was ask the hard question. You know, why did you pursue CTE in the manner that you did? How did you get involved in this? And what is your ultimate goal? And he answered all three questions easily. You know, I treat and deal with Mike Webster. I am a neuropathologist for Allegheny County. So I see this all the time. I have a tremendous amount of education in this space, and I think I can help you, Leonard. And with that, I allowed him to run with the ball to help me and to not only help me with traumatic brain injury, but help me to understand, you know, what happened to me, the why factor, and then how we can remedy the situation, which led us to looking into the film Concussions and the ability to tell his story. And to tell his story, how he come to know about CTE, how he come to help Mike Webster, several other NFL players in Pittsburgh and throughout the league, and the purpose he serves in my life today. And you know, I love the idea of the film Concussions. I thought we picked the right guy to tell the story in terms of Will Smith,
Yeah.
and he did a phenomenal job, not only playing Dr. Amalu, but to really expose the trials and tribulations associated with tackle football, especially at the pro level. I felt they should have explored it a little bit more at the collegiate level and introduced it gradually as we got into pro football. But I'm happy that the story got told. I think it enlightened a lot of folks as to what goes on with traumatic brain injury and how it affects NFL players and their families.
I know that you've been a huge endorser of medical cannabis. Could you tell us how that has helped you with the CTE symptoms that you suffer from?
Well, medicinal cannabis has been a major proponent for guys that have severe head trauma. And it has also been served as a major derivative in the development of CBD and the various byproducts associated with CBD and cannabis. I happen to use as needed. I happen to expose others to it that are interested in it as medicinal help, to help them to relax and try to live a fruitful and abundant life. It's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. But yet, you know, if you come to knowledge, you agree with your diagnosis, and you come to understand what debilitating head trauma is, I think you then, at that point in time in your life, will come to understand why this stuff works and why this stuff will help you to live a better life, as opposed to you basically crying in your own beer.
Yeah. I think your story is super inspirational, getting this story out about CTE, because as I said earlier, until I was like in high school, I had a bunch of concussions playing hockey, but I didn't really know the long-term effects from it.
There you go.
So, like, the fact, do I know if I would still play the game? I have no clue if I would have, but like, I would have liked to known so I could have been more careful while I played the game.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. And that's the idea, to have someone like myself to be able to share my journey and share my story, and you benefit as a result.
Yeah.
And you educate yourself as well as others well within your orbit of daily activity. That's exactly why a story like mine makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. And those that take advantage of it are those that come out winners. And those that don't, well, they kind of end up with issues associated with this and not coming to understand what that means.
Do you think about being outspoken about CT has caused you not to be honored by the Giants? I know they haven't put you in their Ring of Honor, which you definitely deserve. You were a huge part of those first 2 Super Bowls. And I think you're a Hall of Famer too. Your career is up there with some of the greats. Tell me what you think about that.
Well, I want to believe that's not the case. I want to believe that's not the case. Personally, I don't know. I really want to believe in my heart of hearts that that's not the case. However, if it is the case, it's totally unfair because, what I did as a player speaks volume.
Yeah.
And it speaks such volume that I often tell people what I did on the field made me a hero. What I need now lets people know that I'm human and that I'm going to deal with the challenges associated with traumatic brain injury as a result of being human, but also being a gladiator, a guy who went out to play the game at a high level and exposed himself as a result of it. And, what did I get for it? Did I get what I deserve, or did I get punished as a result of? And that's what's disheartening, is the fact that you kind of feel sort of punished. And I don't want to feel that way, nor do I want to have or possess animus in my heart for what I did as a player versus for what I need now.
Absolutely. Well, my last question for you is I want us to go through the remaining playoff games and basically you pick who you're going to win, and we'll go all the way to the Super Bowl and we can pick a champ.
All right, let's have a little bit of fun. You go with it. You start off first.
We'll start off with Rams and Bucks. Here you go.
Rams and Bucks. Okay. So I'm a huge NFC guy. I've always been and always will be a huge NFC guy. The one thing I think of when I think of the NFC this year, I think the NFC is strong in character, but I think it's weak in intensity. Yeah. I think that the Bucks, while they are a good football team, I don't think they're a great football team. I think positionally speaking, I think and I'll examine them from a defensive perspective. I think they have a great person playing quarterback. I think they have limited talent at the running back position. I think their wide receiver and his skill position people are a little bit above average. And I only give them that slight edge because of Rob Gronkowski and his years of experience with the Patriots and now with the Buccaneers. So I think the Bucks are probably one of the lead horses in the hunt in the NFC. I love the Los Angeles Rams.
I do too.
I love the Los Angeles Rams. I love them. I think their defense is strong. I think their outside edge pass rusher Von Miller is amazing. I think the kid Darnold's a hell of a player. Not the type of player that I would want to build my defense around, but he's a pass rush extraordinaire. He plays the running spots. The other kids that play around him relatively complement him.
Yeah.
I think their linebacker play is very good. I think their corner play is average, if not slightly a little bit above average. I think offensively, they're a much better football team than most. I think the quarterback position is questionable because this is his second outing. This would be his only second outing in the playoffs in the 10 years of his career.
Yeah, it's his first
And
second round game.
Yeah, first second round game. And once you get into it, it becomes very tough. It becomes very tough. So, it's tough to gauge that.
Yeah.
It's tough to gauge it. It's tough to grade it. But, certain guys can overcome it. So, do I like the Rams more than I like the Bucks? I think it's a pick 'em. I think it's a matter of which team shows up and decides that they want to have a dominating day on both sides of football.
Absolutely. I think this is the NFC Championship game. Whoever wins this is going to the Super Bowl.
Yes. I totally agree with you. I think the same thing applies at the AFC level.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Buffalo Bills. I like to play a quarterback. I like the big physical offensive line they have. The fact they have a strong running game speaks volume because they need to have a strong running game. They play in cold weather.
Absolutely.
So they're the only team with the coldest weather in the league. So I would say that, I'm going to favor, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, to be one of the favorites. As a matter of fact, since Buffalo is going to end up playing Kansas City, one of them is going to cancel out the other team to go to the Super Bowl.
They're basically the championship games now. Both the first two we've done is the championship probably for each conference.
Yeah. So I like the Cincinnati Bengals. I like their play at quarterback. I think Joe is a very good player, if not above being a good. I think he's an exceptional player.
Yeah.
I think his lack of experience may come to harm him a little bit in big games. However, he's a big game player. So I give him the edge at the quarterback position versus Ryan Tannehill. I think their defense, the Bengals, is a slight edge above what the Tennessee Titans have. I think that, we'll have to worry about. I think the running back positions cancel each other out. Derrick Henry versus, their guy in Cincinnati. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that running back stuff. But yet I think their defenses are, quite the same. And I think, what's going to come down to that game between Cincinnati and the Titans is the play at quarterback. I think if Tannehill has an exceptional day, they'll have the best chance to win. I think if Tannehill craps in his hand, Joe Burrow and company are going to turn it into a pinball game and light that scoreboard up every opportunity they possibly could get. Because remember, they got two of the best receivers in the league, got an exceptional tight end. They play tough defense. They run the ball very well. And people love to watch them play at home.
Absolutely. And we got 49ers Packers the last part of this weekend.
I think if you're a Niner fan, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed because I think this is the year that the NFC dominates the playoffs. The team that comes out the NFC is a team I think that's going to win the Super Bowl. And I picked the Green Bay Packers to be that team. Okay. I think the Green Bay Packers are the most physical team, both sides of the ball. I think their offensive line are maulers. I think their defensive line are bullies. And I think they play such physical football because they play in such cold weather in the Northeast. I see if Buffalo beats Kansas City, Buffalo will beat Cincinnati, and Buffalo will go to the dance and play the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, so you got Buffalo over the Chiefs. You got Cincinnati over the Titans. Packers over 49ers. And with Rams and Bucks, I know you said it's a pick 'em. Who do you think edges it out?
Wow. It's really a pick 'em. It's really a pick 'em. And man, it's really a pick 'em, but it's so hard. It's really a pick 'em. I'll just say this, it's going to be a great contest.
But you got Packers. You said Packers and Bills in the Super Bowl. Who do you think lifts the Lombardi this year?
Wow. Wow. Man, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. A healthy Packer team I give the advantage to.
Yeah.
But I can't count that kid from LSU, man.
Yeah.
He made me a believer. He made me a believer in Baton Rouge, and he's making me a believer every week he goes out there now.
Yeah.
You know, and Jamal Chase, I watched him at LSU. I was disappointed that he didn't come back after they won the national championship and light up the scoreboard because I just saw that happen. I mean, I went to 2 spring games watching him perform, and I really felt like they were headed somewhere with Joe Burrow at quarterback and he and Jefferson at receiver.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that he practiced against the best corner in football, who's in this year's draft, and Darryl Stingley Jr. I just saw, you know, today's football player, these are the kids I love to watch.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Leonard, I'd like to thank you for coming on our show today. It was an absolute honor. We got to do this again sometime. Leonard Marshall, everyone.
Thank you so much, Matt. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the games this weekend, my friend.
We definitely will. Thank you.